Alright, what's up Dominators? Welcome back to the ShiHai's channel, and today I present to you Daryl's personalized Harri. So yes, thank you very much for Daryl for lending me his deck. I'm kind of behind in terms of deck fights and deck recipes, so I'll try to push them all out by this Wednesday, as this Wednesday is VBT 10 already, which is the new Shadow Paladin Mega Colony. Spikes and touchies, yes, so I got new content for that, but I'm way behind in terms of BTO 9, so let's just jump right into it. We got a new format where we lay out the cards and then we go into the cards, why do we run them, their abilities, and later a little bit of combos here and there. So this is Harri remastered back into V series from G series, from the depths of G back into V series, and we got a new mechanic in which they use grade 4 in the deck and turns the grade 4 into a waterfall based on the number of Magyados that you have on the field. Alright, so let's jump right into it. First we have the new grade 4, which is the kind of like the win con in this deck. It's called Starry Pop Dragon. So continuous rearguard circle, this unit gains power plus 5k for each rearguard with Magyados in a different card names. So what does this mean is every time because of Harri's skill, you're able to call Magyados from your soul onto the field and they activate the abilities, especially if this Starry Pop Dragon which is placed on the stage itself. That's the only way that you can gain additional imaginary gift excel, which is the second skill. When placed on stage, it gains an imaginary gift excel, and stage is the new mechanic where instead of getting multiple excels on your rights, whenever you write, you just stack all the excel onto the previous excel circle that you already have, so it stacks up. It's like a bit like a force marker in a sense, but instead of having many rearguard circles, you only have one additional rearguard circles with a lot of excel stacked on it. So that's basically stage. And then this is the last skill, is when it attacks, if this power unit's power is 40,000 greater, at the end of battle this unit gets +1 crit and opponent cannot concentrate from his or her hand at the end of battle, retire this unit. So it's a waterfall for the deck in a sense. So that's one of the reasons why it's considered your win con, where you just check triggers or you have a lot of Magyados on field and you have a lot of stages, because every turn you're at least gaining 1 or 2 additional excel circles because you're placing Starry Pop Dragon onto the stage and it gains an additional excel circle. So one thing I like to take note is that a lot of people like to go excel 2 with this deck, and yes, I get the appeal, plus 5k draw 1. The draw 1 is really just too good to give up, but in a sense where you're going first, and I really prefer y'all to actually go Excel 1 instead. Try it out for yourself. Yes, it might seem crazy. Oh, Excel 1? Oh my god, it's so bad. It's just plus 10k and you don't draw 1, compared to Excel 2 where it's plus 5k and you draw a card. But this deck really relies on Excel 1 in a sense where it makes your Starry Pop Dragon's numbers easier to hit. And trust me on that, where I just say that if you are able to hit the 30k at least, 40k at least on the first right against an opponent that is a grade 2, and have the crit online and the sentinel restrict online, it's really devastating for your opponent to cut, as number 1 they can't PG, number 2 they have to raw guard it with triggers, and most of the time they are unable to guard because Starry Pop Dragon is just 40k on and above, which is a lot to guard. So yeah, moving on to, we got Harri. So we got the new Masked Magician Harri remastered from G back to V. Skill is, the first skill is continuous when placed, not continuous, sorry, when placed. Choose one of your additional rearguard circles and it becomes the stage until the end of that fight. So yes, all your rearguard circles are moved into one of your rearguard circles only, and that thing becomes a stage. So yes, it's a auto skill. I'm surprised. I thought it's a con, but apparently it's not. Alright. Second skill, X once per turn, card last one, discard a card from your hand, call 2 cards in Magyados from different card names. They are sold from rearguard circle to rearguard circle, and they gain power plus 5k at the end of turn. If your opponent's vanguard is 3 or greater, you may call up to 4 instead of 2. So yes, this is one of the ways where you're able to get the field on board, and all your Magyados, especially in the soul or like grade 2s, grade 1, they all have abilities to use, especially when they're caught from the soul. So they either suck in one of your opponent's rearguards, give your vanguard and that unit plus 10k, draw 1 or counter charge 1, which you'll get to later in all the grade 2s and grade 1s which you run. So Harri is almost like Lokia, the same, and it gives power in a sense where all your caught units plus 5k, but if your opponent's a grade 3, you call 4 instead of 2. So yes, Last grade 3 we actually play is Dorian. So I think Dorian is a must play of whether you're playing Lucia, Harri, or what, end of stage as well. Okay, maybe not end of stage, but yeah, end of stage is really so in all your regards, so that it doesn't make sense to run Dorian. So yeah, Dorian is a really strong card, restricted to 1 copy of course. Skill, Vanguard rear guard at the end of your turn, put all the rear guards into your soul, draw a card for each 2 cards for every 2 cards that put into your soul by this effect. You put 4 or more, retire grade 3 Silverthorn in its card name from your soul to your hand and retire this unit on rear guard circle. So it doesn't really matter for the grade 3 Silverthorn because that's purely Lucia. But in terms of for every 2 cards that's put into your soul by this effect, you draw a card. That's one of the reasons why you actually run it, so that you can get the hand size to survive the next turn and to continue pushing your opponent. So Dorian 1 off is a must. Moving on to the grade 2, you got okay. The funny thing is Daryl has 1 of every SP in this deck, which is really cool. I think SP in Pale Moon is really expensive already, so having an additional few SPs, especially the grade 3 structure right here, is really expensive. So moving on to the grade 2s, we have card dealer Jacqueline. So this is not a Magia doll in a sense, but yes, it is helping you to search out for cards that are Magia doll in name. So Vanguard rear guard when placed, count plus 1 at top 7. We roll up to 2 Law Pigeon Pop, or cards with Magia doll and the card names are from among them, put them to your hand, shuffle your deck. You put 2 cards, put a card from your hand to your soul. So it's kind of like a free +1. And it builds up your soul for your Harri turn where you superior call cards with Magia doll and their card names from your soul to the rear guard circle. So this card right here, this is the Law Pigeon Pop, which is able to filter out for your grade 4s right here. So that's one of the reasons why you actually run them. So yes, this card is a must, and it's probably one of the best grade 2 turns to filter out your Law Pigeon Pop and enable your soul to be filled up with Magia dolls, so that your grade 3 turn is more consistent and you're able to call Magia dolls from your soul onto the rear guard circle. Moving on, we got the Law Pigeon Pop, so let's just talk a little bit about it. So skill, when placed, put up to 1 Magia doll from its card name from your drop zone into your soul, so it's the rear guard skill only, take note. Second skill, at the end of battle they attack, if this unit is on stage, count +1, return this unit to your hand, search your deck, soul or drop zone for 1 Cypher Dragon card to stage, and you search your deck, you shuffle your deck. So you're able to call this grade 4 from the deck, from the soul, and from the drop zone. So it's really strong, and you don't really have to run 4 Cypher Dragons because you can fetch them from anywhere else other than the damage zone. So, and this Law Pigeon Pop bounces back to your hand every turn, so you can use it as for the cost of count +1 of course. So take note, count cost in this deck is not really free, but you do have count charges like the grade 1 Magia doll for you to help refund the cost of at least Harri. So they're able to use at least this pigeon every turn. So you got 5 turns to use it in a sense. So the other grade 2 we're going to run into is this Magia doll Lunatic Dragon right here, which run 3 copies of. So when all Magia dolls have this special skill where when it's retired from Guidance Circle, you may put this card into your soul. So it's really easy to soul charge them by guarding with them in a sense. So yes, you don't really have to do extra effort like Lucia, Silverthorns, where you need cards to soul charge Silverthorns from the deck into the soul. But for Magia dolls, it's more easy because as long as you're guarding with them, and when they're retired from the Guardian Circle, you're able to shove them to your soul. And then when your Harri turns activates, you have a lot of Magia dolls in your soul already because you guarded with them. So second skill is when placed by your unit's ability with Harri in its card name. So yes, when superior called from soul by Harri, trigger your opponent's rear guards and your opponent puts that unit into his or her soul. So it's a rear guard remover in a sense. So I think it's fine. 4 off is a bit much to me, but because this deck, you see the ratios are really perfectly fitted out, I think 3 copies is really fine. You don't really have to shove the rear guard to soul. It's just that one annoying rear guard you really want to get rid of. Like example, Variance Killer Tail in Dark Irregulars is the free card charger for that every turn, and you want to get rid of that, so you just shove that to the soul. Moving on, we got Magia doll Prana. This is grade 2 right here. So this grade 2 I think is a 4 off because when placed by a unit's ability with Harri, this unit and one of your Vanguards gain +10k on the after. So in a sense, when it's getting caught by Harri, it's +15k because Harri's skill gives it +5. And then it gives your Vanguard an additional 10k as well, so it doesn't whack for 12k only. And it's really strong because it ties in very well with Harri's skill, and 2 additional 10ks means it's an additional 2 cards off the opponent's hand probably most of the time. Moving on to the grade 1s, we have the grade 3 such as a masquerade bunny. So yes, the grade 3 such as is a must because as you can see, you're only running 5 grade 3s in this deck, and ideally you always want to ride Harri. You never want to ride Dorian because riding Dorian means delaying your Harri turn by 1, and it's really devastating because number 1, you can't superior cards from your soul onto the rearguard circle, and Dorian requires you to, for each 2 cards on the field, you shove them to soul and you draw a card for each 2. So getting free pluses from Harri and from using Harri's skill and Dorian after that is really good rather than the other way around. First skill for Masquerade Bunny is continuous. If you call 1 or more cards from soul distance, you need gains plus 5k, so it's a free 13k booster most of the time. But only during the grade 3 turn probably. And then when placed, generic top 5 add grade 3 added discard card. Moving on to the magical Manga Dolls. We have Magadol Darkside Mirror Master, this grade 1 right here. Exact same first skill. And then second skill is when placed by unit's ability with Harri, you can't charge 1. So as long as it's being caught from soul by Harri effect, it's a free cost for Harri. Instead of counterblasting 1, you just discard a card, call up to 4 cards or up to 2 cards based on opponent's vanguard grade. And this unit count charges for you. So every time you're able to use Law Pigeon Pop to get your Starport Dragon out of wherever, onto the stage. And then last but not least, we got Magadol Flying Pelican. So this used to be a grade 2 back in the G series, but they remastered it back into grade 1. When placed by a unit's ability with Harri, you draw a card. So yes, take note, you're unable to stack this any of these effects, because Harri says you call up to 2 different card names, 2 different Magadol card names, or 4 different Magadol card names based on your opponent's vanguard grade. So yeah, most of the time, even though you got multiple copies of each Magadol in the, so you are only able to call up to maximum of 4 because yeah, you can't stack the effects because that would be pretty OP. Okay, last but not least, we got the triggers. So triggers lineup, I think, as I said before, it's always flexible. Daryl runs, this is the exact list by the way, that was played against Anwar. So 2 draw sentinels, 2 critical sentinels, and then 8 crits and 4 heals. So total we have 10 crits, 2 draws and 4 heals. Plus the starter, of course. The starter just run whatever starter you want. It doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's about it for the deck. I think the deck is consistent in a way, but it's not as game breaking as Night Rose or what's called Dark Regulars, because you do have a consistent way of getting Magadolls in the deck out onto the field, based by Harri effect. But sometimes you realize that your Starport Dragon are unable to hit the numbers because you're going XL2. That's one reason why. Just go XL1, so it's easier to hit numbers and get the Waterfall effect. I will just call it Waterfall effect. And then it's much easier because XL1 allows you to gain more power, especially on turns where you just call Law Pigeon Pop first, and it's a 15k / 10k attacker based on your opponent's vanguard grade, whether they are on grade 2 or grade 3. And then after that, you're able to multi-attack with Starport Dragon as you call. You bounce Law Pigeon and call Starport Dragon from wherever. And then if you're able to draft check 2 crits on your first grade 3 turn and pump all to Starport Dragon, and Starport Dragon skill is active, is basically lethal, probably. Your opponent will not be able to guard. It's one of the reasons why this deck is a win con. And the longer the fight extends, I would say, yes, the longer the fight against your opponent, your Starport Dragon is just going to get bigger again, because every time you call it onto the stage, you get free additional XL1 / 2 depending, so you can just keep stacking on top. And then after that, you just end them off with the free Waterfall attack with 2 crits, or maybe even more depending on whether you do check them in your draft checks. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, Dominators. Hope you guys like this deck recipe. I'll be posting DI deck fight really soon. I'm so sorry, I'm really behind. Because I deemed that some of the fights that I recorded, especially at Zart Games, because it's pretty noisy. That's why I would not prefer to upload those videos because they're really noisy, and the background noise is just way too much. It overpowers the fighter's voice, so you can't really hear what they're saying. And I'm just going to re-record them and probably upload them by this Sunday, hopefully. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, Dominators. Hope you guys liked it. And this is ShiHai, and I'll see you next time. Peace!